Welcome back, dear friend. Tonight, I invite you to rest with me as we journey through the quiet corridors of memory, myth, and imagination. You have returned once again, and as you settle into the comfort of your pillow, let us allow the day to slowly dissolve. The noises of the world, the buzzing thoughts that may have gathered around you like restless birds, will begin to fade, one by one, as though the wind is carrying them gently into the distance. You are safe here, wrapped in the softness of your blanket, accompanied only by my voice and the timeless stories that have been told across generations. And tonight, our path leads us deep into the heart of America's mythology and folklore. These are not simply tales of monsters or heroes, though they may appear that way at first. No, dear friend, these are the living whispers of the land itself, carried by winds that move across great plains, through thick forests, over mountain ridges, across vast deserts, and along endless shorelines. The mythology of America is not one story, but a chorus of many, each born of a people, of a time, of a need to explain what could not otherwise be explained. Each story is a thread, and tonight we will begin weaving them together until a great, rich tapestry reveals itself to us. But before we wander into tales of thunderbirds and tricksters, of haunted forests and spectral riders, let us pause. Let us take a deep breath together, in slowly and out softly, again, in and out. Notice how the breath begins to steady you, how the muscles of your face, your neck, your shoulders release their tension, as though they too are listening for the stories that are about to unfold. For storytelling is not just entertainment, it is a ritual, a sacred act of slowing down, of letting the mind drift away from the ordinary world. In the old days, the telling of stories was an act of community. Fires would be lit, drums might hum faintly, voices would rise and fall like the song of the earth itself. In the silence of night, stories provided comfort, guidance, and warning. They soothed restless hearts, explained mysteries of the world, and kept alive the lessons of ancestors. And here, tonight, you and I recreate that ritual. You and I are the storyteller and the listener. But remember, the listener is never passive. As you hear these words, your imagination paints the landscapes, shapes the faces of the spirits, and gives life to the creatures of myth. Together, we will walk through these stories. Together, we will feel their weight and their wonder. Let us begin by imagining America not as the bustling modern nation you know, but as it was thousands of years ago, before roads and cities and fences, when the land stretched unbroken from horizon to horizon. The forests were endless, dense, and mysterious. The rivers rushed wild and free, glistening in the sun by day and whispering under the moon by night. The mountains stood ancient, their peaks sometimes hidden in clouds, their slopes alive with creatures of every kind. The plains rolled wide, grasses bending like waves on the ocean. In this world, everything was alive, and everything carried meaning. The wind was not just wind, it was the breath of spirits. The trees were not just trees, they were the keepers of stories, watching as people passed beneath their branches. Every stone, every animal, every storm was part of a larger whole, a vast living world. The people who lived on this land knew it intimately. The indigenous tribes who flourished across the continent carried stories that explained creation, death, and rebirth. Their myths spoke of balance, of the need to respect the animals they hunted, the rivers they fished, the skies they gazed upon. A thunderclap was not just weather, it was the thunderbird flexing its mighty wings. A coyote darting across the desert was not just an animal, it might be Coyote himself, the trickster, playing some cosmic game. In the northern forests, the deep hunger of winter gave rise to the tale of the Wendigo, a spirit born of famine and greed, a reminder of the dangers of selfishness. In the deserts, whispers of skinwalkers spread, figures who blurred the lines between human and beast, between the natural and the unnatural. As centuries passed, new people arrived. They brought with them their own stories, their own myths, born from European villages, from African traditions carried across oceans, from the imaginations of sailors, farmers, and pioneers. These stories, too, took root in the soil of America. They transformed, they adapted, they merged with older tales, and in time, they became something uniquely American. The Jersey Devil flapped its leathery wings in the Pine Barrens. Pecos Bill rode wild tornadoes in the west. Johnny Appleseed wandered barefoot, scattering orchards in the frontier. The Headless Horseman galloped through Sleepy Hollow, a chilling reminder of war and mortality. And still later, in the modern age, stories continued to bloom. Bigfoot left his tracks in the forests of the Pacific Northwest. Mothman stretched his wings above the hills of West Virginia. The chupacabra haunted the deserts, a creature both terrifying and strangely fascinating. Even the urban sprawl of cities created their own legends. The vanishing hitchhiker, the man with the hook hand, the babysitter who hears a voice on the phone. Do you see, dear friend? American mythology is not static. It is a living river, forever, flowing, changing shape, carrying with it the fears and hopes of each generation. It reflects who we are and who we wish to be. It speaks to our shadows, our dreams, our laughter, and our dread. Tonight, as you listen, you may find yourself drawn deeper into this current. The steady rhythm of my voice, the unfolding of tale after tale, will guide you like a lantern along a quiet path. There is no need to hurry. Time slows here, softens, and melts away. The boundaries between day and night, between waking and sleeping, grow hazy until you find yourself drifting somewhere in between. And as you drift, notice how the stories themselves carry a kind of spell. They soothe you because they are familiar. You have heard stories since childhood, stories of heroes, villains, monsters, and wonders. But they also comfort you because they remind you that you are part of something larger. You are not alone. Every person who has ever lived has told stories, has listened by firelight, has passed tales down to children and grandchildren. In listening tonight, you are connected to that great chain, a chain stretching back into the mists of time. So, let us prepare for our journey. Ahead of us lies a path of 20 stories, each a doorway into a different world. We will move gently, slowly, step by step, the roots of mythology first, then the Great Spirit, then the trickster, the thunderbird, the Wendigo, and onward. Each story will be like a dream, soft around the edges, shimmering with imagination. Already, you may feel your body heavier, sinking into rest. The rhythm of words becomes like waves, rocking you, carrying you gently. That is good. That is how it should be. These stories are not meant only to inform, but to soothe, to guide you into slumber, to let your mind float freely among spirits, heroes, and legends until sleep embraces you fully. And so, dear friend, let us begin. Let us step softly into the forest of American mythology. Ahead, in the distance, a faint fire glows. Around it, figures sit in a circle, waiting for us. The air smells of pine and earth. The fire crackles, warm and inviting. We approach, we sit, we listen. The first voice rises, ancient and steady, and it begins to tell us the roots of American mythology. The roots of American mythology, dear friend. Before we dive into the twisting paths of strange creatures and ghostly riders, we must first plant ourselves firmly in the soil from which all these stories grew. For every myth has roots, and the roots of American mythology stretch deep into the ancient earth, winding through centuries, through cultures, through memory itself. To understand the legends of Wendigos, thunderbirds, and tricksters, we must look back to the very first voices that told stories here, long before the word America was ever spoken. Imagine, if you will, a time before the arrival of Europeans, before ships crossed the wide Atlantic, before fences carved the land into parcels. The continent was vast and open, alive with rivers, forests, mountains, and plains that seemed endless. Across this wide land lived hundreds of nations, tribes, and peoples, each with its own traditions, its own rituals, its own sacred tales. Their lives were woven into the rhythms of the land, the rising and setting of the sun, the migrations of animals, the cycles of planting and harvest, the harshness of winter, the promise of spring. And as they lived, they told stories, stories that explained, that taught, that warned, that comforted. The roots of American mythology are therefore indigenous mythology. To speak of the foundation of folklore here is to honor the native peoples who saw the world as alive with spirit and mystery. Every rock, every tree, every storm was part of a greater whole. The earth was not simply ground to stand on, it was a mother. The sky was not just air above, it was a father. The rivers, the animals, the winds, all were kin, all were sacred. The stories grew from this vision of the world, reminding listeners of their place within it. These myths were not told in books, for books did not yet exist in this world. They were told in voices, in chants, in dances, in rituals under the stars. They lived in the air, carried by breath, remembered by elders, taught to children. Storytelling itself was a sacred act, and every word carried power. To forget a story was to lose part of one's identity, for stories were as important as food, as shelter, as the beating heart. Consider for a moment the way different tribes explained creation. Among the Haudenosaunee, or Iroquois, there is the story of Sky Woman. She fell from the heavens, down through an endless sky, until she landed on the back of a great turtle. From there, with the help of animals, the earth was formed, soil spread across the turtle's shell, and life began. This is why, to this day, many refer to the land as Turtle Island. It is a reminder that the world itself was born from a story carried by compassion, cooperation, and the courage of even the smallest animals. Among other tribes, the origins were told differently. Some spoke of a time when the earth was covered entirely by water until a great being raised land from the depths. Others told of a great fire or a great tree or a mighty bird. Each creation story was unique, but all carried the same deep truth. The world is not random nor meaningless. It is sacred, alive, and bound to humans through an unbreakable relationship. The roots of mythology also carried lessons. For instance, the trickster figure, whether coyote, Iktomi the spider, or raven, appeared in countless tales, reminding people that foolishness and wisdom often live side by side. Trickster broke rules, played pranks, upset the order of things, but in doing so, taught listeners how to behave, what to avoid, and what to value. These were not just amusing tales, but mirrors held up to human nature, reflecting our flaws and our potential. And then there were the tales of spirits, some benevolent, some terrifying. The forests, for example, were filled with life, but also with danger. Spirits lurked among the trees, watching, testing, sometimes punishing those who disrespected the natural balance. In the north, the Wendigo became a legend of what happens when hunger and greed overwhelm humanity. In the south, stories of shapeshifters and medicine people reminded listeners that power must be respected and never abused. These myths formed the backbone of life. They were not entertainment in the way we think of it now, but essential guides. If you wish to know why storms came, there was a story. If you wish to understand why winter was harsh, there was a story. If you wondered why greed or arrogance was dangerous, there was a story. In this way, stories were like stars in the night sky, scattered, but together, forming constellations that guided people through the vast unknown. As time passed, new layers were added to these roots. When Europeans arrived, they brought their own myths, tales of witches, devils, ghosts, and fairies. These tales began to mix with the stories already here, and over generations, something new took shape. The land itself seemed to transform the old tales, giving them new features. A ghost from Europe might wander differently in the woods of New England than in the castles of the Old World. A devil might take the form of a winged creature in the pine barrens rather than a horned figure of fire. Myths adapt, as all living things do, and in America, they grew wild and strange, shaped by the vastness of the land. But always, underneath, are the roots, the voices of the first peoples, the whispers of the wind through pine trees, the crash of waves on rocky coasts, the silence of snowy forests. American mythology cannot be separated from the land, for it was the land itself that gave birth to these stories. And even now, as we tell them again, We are drawing from that deep, ancient well. Pause now, dear friend, and imagine yourself sitting in the circle of listeners long ago. A fire burns gently at the center. The stars above are bright, unhindered by city lights. An elder speaks slowly, their voice carrying both authority and tenderness. The children lean close. The adults nod softly, all listening as the story unfolds. You are there too, sitting with them, part of that moment. The story flows into your ears, into your heart, into your dreams. You realize that you are not only hearing the story, you are becoming part of it. You are one of countless generations who have sat beneath the stars and listened. And this, dear friend, is where our journey must begin. With the roots, the soil of mythology is rich, dark, and eternal. From it will spring the thunderbird, the trickster, the Wendigo, the heroes, and the monsters. But without the roots, the stories would not live. With them, however, the stories grow strong, reaching up into the sky, branching outward, bearing fruit for us to taste tonight. The Great Spirit and creation stories. Dear friend, now that we have gently placed our hands in the deep roots of mythology, we may look upward toward the sky, toward the great mysteries of beginnings. Every culture, every people has asked the same tender question: where did we come from? How did the world begin? Why is there something rather than nothing? The answers are as many as the stars, but each answer is a story, and each story carries the heartbeat of the people who tell it. In the lands of early America, the tribes and nations that flourished here held countless visions of creation, yet within them, a single truth glowed brightly. The world is sacred. The beginning was not random or meaningless. It was intentional, alive, and filled with spirit. And presiding over these beginnings, many tribes spoke of the Great Spirit, a vast, unknowable presence both within and beyond the world. Some called this presence the Creator, others gave it names unique to their language and tradition. To the Lakota, it was Wakantanka, the Great Mystery, the Great Spirit, whose essence was in every stone, every river, every living being. For the Algonquian peoples, it was Manitou, a spiritual force that flowed through all things. This vision of the world as infused with spirit shaped everything. To hunt an animal was not merely to take life, but to enter into a sacred exchange, a relationship bound by respect, to gather berries, to drink from a stream, to plant corn. All of these were spiritual acts because everything was alive with the Great Spirit's breath. Humans were not above nature, but within it, a part of the circle, no more and no less important than any other being. And the stories of creation reflected this understanding, reminding people of where they stood in that great web of life. Let us drift into one of these stories now. Imagine, dear friend, that you are sitting by a fire in the lands of the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois Confederacy, on a night when the stars shine sharp and clear. An elder leans forward, and in the glow of the flames, they begin. In the beginning, there was only the sky world, high above the endless waters. There lived Sky Woman, who one day fell through a hole beneath the roots of a great celestial tree. She tumbled downward, down through the sky, toward the vast, unbroken waters below. But the animals of the water saw her coming. Birds flew upward, their wings beating furiously, to catch her and soften her fall. They could not hold her forever, so they placed her gently on the shell of a great turtle, and there she rested. But there was no land, only water. The animals knew they must help. One by one, they dove deep, seeking to bring up earth from the depths below. Many tried, many failed, but at last the little muskrat, small and humble, returned, nearly lifeless, with a paw full of mud. Sky Woman spread the soil across the turtle's back, and the land began to grow. From that soil, the world was formed, and from Sky Woman, life flourished. This story, dear friend, is why some still call North America Turtle Island. It is not merely a myth of beginnings, but a reminder of cooperation, humility, and balance. Even the smallest creature, the muskrat, accomplished what the stronger ones could not, and so the world itself was born not of conquest, but of care, of sacrifice, and of unity. Other tribes told different beginnings, each one a jewel of imagination. The Cherokee spoke of a time when the earth was soft and wet, suspended in the sky. Animals, curious to know what was below, sent the water beetle down to explore. It dove beneath the waters and brought up mud, which spread and grew until it became the land we know today. But because the ground was still soft, the animals tied it to the sky with cords, holding it in place, which is why the earth does not fall. In the Pacific Northwest, the stories of creation often featured Raven, the clever, trickster-like bird. In one tale, Raven found the world locked away, hidden in a box of light. Through his cunning, he released the sun, the moon, and the stars, bringing light to the people. Creation, in this telling, was not a solemn act, but a playful one, filled with laughter, trickery, and the joy of discovery. And in the arid Southwest, the Navajo and other Diné peoples spoke of emergence. For them, the world was not created at once, but through a series of journeys upward, from one world into another, each higher and more complete than the last. From the first dark world, where only insects lived, to the second, then the third, and finally to this, the fourth world, where humans emerged into the sunlight. Creation was a process of growth, of learning, of climbing upward toward harmony. All of these stories, though different, share a rhythm. They remind listeners that the world is precious, fragile, and alive. They teach that even small creatures play great roles, that cooperation and respect are the foundation of life. They remind us that existence is not an accident, but a gift, a sacred unfolding guided by the Great Spirit in ways we can feel but never fully comprehend. Pause now, dear friend, and notice how your breath has become slower, deeper. The stories, like waves on a shore, move gently across your mind, pulling you deeper into their rhythm. You may see Sky Woman falling, the birds soaring to catch her, the turtle rising from the waters, the muskrat paddling bravely into the deep. Or you may picture Raven cracking open the box of light, or the beetle surfacing with mud in its tiny claws. These images drift before you like dream fragments, soft and glowing. There is no need to hold on to them tightly. Let them pass. Let them change. Let them dissolve, as stories always do. The Great Spirit, the Creator, the mystery. These are not figures to be understood in the way one understands a name or a face. They are felt, sensed, known in the quiet of the heart, just as you may feel in this moment a sense of vastness, a sense of connection, a sense that you too are part of the story. For you are. You breathe the same air, drink the same water, live upon the same turtle island. The stories are not only old, they are alive, and they flow into you tonight as you listen. And so, dear friend, as you rest here, the Great Spirit watches, as it always has. The creation stories remind us that the world was born in beauty, in struggle, in cooperation. They remind us that we, too, carry within us a spark of creation. Every breath, every word, every dream adds to the story of the world. Now, slowly, gently, let this truth settle in your thoughts. You are part of the great circle. You are one thread in the endless weaving of creation. The stars above are not distant. They are kin. The earth beneath you is not separate. It is alive with spirit. And as you drift into rest, you may carry with you the comfort of knowing that you are never alone, never apart, but always within the great mystery of existence, the trickster figure. Dear friend, every mythology has its wise figures and its fearsome monsters, its gods of thunder and its spirits of the underworld. Yet perhaps the most fascinating, the most unpredictable, is the figure who refuses to follow rules, the trickster. In American mythology, the trickster is everywhere, hiding in plain sight, laughing in the shadows, reminding us of truths we often forget. Sometimes he is a spider, sometimes a coyote, sometimes a raven. He is clever, foolish, selfish, generous, destructive, and creative all at once. To meet the trickster is to meet contradiction itself, wrapped in a story. Why does every culture tell stories of tricksters? Perhaps, dear friend, because humanity itself is trickster-like. We are wise and foolish, kind and cruel, selfish and selfless. The trickster holds up a mirror, showing us both our flaws and our brilliance. He embarrasses us, teaches us, makes us laugh, and makes us think. He is the chaos in order, the shadow in light, the reminder that even in sacred traditions there must be room for laughter, for mischief, for the unpredictable. Among the Lakota, the trickster is Iktomi, the spider. Picture him now, spinning his delicate web, each thread glistening in the morning sun. At first glance, he seems patient, wise, weaving patterns of beauty. But look closer, and you will see that Iktomi is also sly. He uses his web to trap, to trick, to deceive. One story tells of Iktomi tricking ducks into dancing with their eyes closed, only to catch them and prepare a feast. But when greed overtook him, he ended up with nothing. The lesson, gentle and simple, is clear. Selfishness leads to loss. Yet, Iktomi is not purely evil. He is a teacher. In another tale, he brings nets to humanity, showing them how to catch fish. His foolishness gives way to wisdom. His tricks become gifts. In this way, he embodies the duality of human nature, the power to harm and the power to create. Travel west, and the trickster shifts form. Among many tribes, he becomes coyote. Ah, coyote. Clever, reckless, endlessly curious. In some stories, he creates the world itself, arranging the stars, shaping the rivers, even stealing fire to give to humans. In others, he is a clown, humiliating himself with his arrogance, stumbling into disasters of his own making. He is never consistent, never predictable. One moment a hero, the next a fool. Imagine Coyote now, padding softly through the desert, ears pricked, eyes gleaming. He spots something he wants. Perhaps food, perhaps power, perhaps simply the thrill of mischief. He hatches a plan, sly and confident. At first, it works. He triumphs. He gloats. He laughs. But then, always, his plan backfires. He falls. He suffers. He learns. Or perhaps he does not. The people laugh at his antics, but they also learn. They see in Coyote their own flaws, the dangers of pride, of greed, of ignoring wisdom, and they also see resilience. For Coyote always returns, always tries again. Further north, in the lands of the Pacific Northwest, the trickster often takes the form of raven. Sleek black feathers, sharp beak, bright eyes. Raven is both majestic and mischievous. In one famous tale, Raven steals the sun, the moon, and the stars, bringing light to a world once shrouded in darkness. At first, he seeks only for himself, but in the end, his theft benefits all. In this way, Raven's selfishness becomes a gift. His trick becomes creation itself. These tales, dear friend, remind us that wisdom is not always solemn. Sometimes wisdom wears the mask of a fool. Sometimes the greatest teachers are those who stumble, who laugh, who make mistakes. The trickster is sacred because he is human, because he shows us the truth of ourselves. Let us pause here and reflect. As you breathe softly, perhaps you can feel the trickster in your own life. Have you ever been too proud, too certain, only to be humbled? Have you ever laughed at your own foolishness? Have you ever discovered that a mistake led to learning, that a failure led to growth? In these moments, the trickster walks beside you, smiling, reminding you not to take yourself too seriously. Even the way stories of the trickster are told carries his spirit. They are often playful, humorous, full of exaggeration and surprise. Around the fire, listeners laugh, children giggle, elders smile. Knowingly, the trickster unites people in laughter, even as he teaches. For laughter itself is sacred. It heals. It bonds. It reminds us that life, no matter how serious, must also be joyful. And so, dear friend, as you drift deeper into rest, let the trickster wander through your dreams. Perhaps he is coyote, howling softly under the moon. Perhaps he is raven, soaring above the trees with a sparkle of mischief in his eye. Perhaps he is Iktomi, weaving delicate threads that shimmer like stars. He may trick you, he may fool you, but always, in the end, he will leave you wiser. The trickster reminds us that perfection is not required. To be human is to err, to stumble, to laugh, to learn. And in this way, the trickster is not only a figure of myth, but a companion in our journey through life. The Thunderbird, dear friend, as we drift deeper into the landscape of American mythology, Let us now look upward, high above the mountains, above the forests, above even the storm clouds themselves. There, in the trembling skies, lives one of the most powerful and awe-inspiring beings of native mythology, the thunderbird. The thunderbird is vast beyond comprehension, a bird so great that its wings stretch wider than valleys, wider than rivers. With a single beat, the air shudders, and thunder rolls across the land. When it opens its eyes, lightning flashes, splitting the sky with brilliant, jagged light. For countless generations, the thunderbird has been remembered as both protector and destroyer, a spirit of unimaginable power, watching over the balance of the world. Imagine, if you will, a summer storm beginning to gather on the horizon. The air grows heavy, the light dims, the trees grow still as though holding their breath. You hear the first low rumble, like distant drums rolling through the sky. Then, a sudden flash, a crack of lightning, and the heavens seem alive with fury. In that moment, you may think of the thunderbird, its wings beating above the storm, its cry echoing in the thunderclap. The storm is not just weather, it is spirit, it is life. Among many tribes, the thunderbird is a guardian, a protector of the people. Among the Ojibwe, for example, the thunderbird was said to fight against great serpents that lived beneath the waters. These serpents represented chaos, danger, and destruction. The thunderbird, striking with lightning, kept them in check, ensuring that the balance of the world was preserved. Without the thunderbird, the serpents would rise, flooding and devouring the earth. Thus, each storm was not merely a danger to be feared, but a reminder of this eternal battle in the unseen realms. Among the plains tribes, too, the thunderbird held immense power. To see it in a dream was a sign of strength, a calling to become a warrior or a person of vision. Some said that the thunderbird could grant powers to shamans, filling them with energy as fierce as a storm. Yet such power was dangerous, for to misuse it would bring ruin. In the Pacific Northwest, Thunderbird was known as a mighty being who lived in the highest mountains. When it hunted, it swooped down upon whales, lifting them from the sea in its talons. The flapping of its wings sent storms crashing against the coast, waves pounding the shores, lightning striking the waters. In these stories, Thunderbird was not only a figure of fear, but also a bringer of abundance. The storms it brought watered the earth, fed the rivers, and renewed the cycles of life. There is something deeply hypnotic about the thunderbird, dear friend. It is a symbol of duality, of destruction and renewal, of danger and protection. Its storms can devastate, yet they also bring rain, and rain brings growth. It is wild, uncontrollable, immense, and yet it has purpose. It is not chaos for chaos's sake, but part of the great balance. Think now of a time you have watched a storm from safety, perhaps through a window, perhaps from a sheltered porch. The rain falls in sheets, the thunder cracks, the lightning illuminates the sky for just an instant. In those moments, there is both fear and wonder, both danger and beauty. That is the gift of the thunderbird. It reminds us that life is not only gentle, not only calm, life is also wild, unpredictable, and powerful. And yet, even in its wildness, there is meaning. Some elders taught that the thunderbird could appear in visions, not as a terrifying force, but as a guide. It might come to a person lost in grief or confusion, lifting them with its wings, showing them a higher perspective. To dream of the thunderbird was to be touched by mystery, to glimpse something beyond ordinary life. Now, dear friend, close your eyes for a moment in your imagination and picture the thunderbird. See its vast wings, feathers shimmering like storm clouds edged with lightning. See its eyes glowing with the fire of the storm. Hear the deep, rhythmic sound of its wings, each beat like a drum that echoes in your chest. Feel the power of it, not frightening, but awe-inspiring, like standing on the edge of the ocean, like gazing at the stars. The thunderbird is immense, but it is also part of you, part of the same world that cradles you tonight. And as you rest, perhaps you may hear a distant rumble, not of danger, but of comfort. The storm is far away. The rain falls softly. The thunder rolls gently, like a lullaby of the earth itself. The thunderbird has passed overhead, leaving the land refreshed, the air washed clean, the cycle renewed. The story of the thunderbird, dear friend, is not only a story of storms. It is a reminder of power, of balance, of respect for forces greater than ourselves. It is a story that tells us to honor the wildness of the world, to respect the elements, and to remember that even in the fiercest storm, there is beauty. The Wendigo, dear friend. Now, let us drift into the deep, shadowed forests of the north, where the snow lies heavy on the ground, and the wind whispers through the evergreens like a distant sigh. Here, in these vast, silent woods, moves a spirit of hunger and warning, the Wendigo. The Wendigo is a creature born of cold, of famine, of greed. In the legends of the Algonquian-speaking peoples, it was once human, just like you and me, but something within it twisted. When a person's desire grew too strong, when selfishness or hunger consumed them entirely, they could transform into this monstrous being, tall and gaunt, with skin stretched tightly over its bones, eyes glowing like coals in the dark. The Wendigo roamed the forests endlessly, never satisfied, always searching for flesh to consume. Imagine now the winter forest. The snow falls in quiet layers, muffling the footsteps of the animals and the humans who dare to cross it. The trees are thick and silent, their branches etched in frost. The wind carries the faintest whispers, like the rustle of leaves in a forgotten language. Somewhere deep in these woods, the Wendigo moves. You do not see it at first, perhaps only a shadow, a flicker in the corner of your vision. But you sense it, because the air grows colder, heavier, almost alive with hunger. The Wendigo is not just a monster, it is a warning. It reminds us of the dangers of greed, of desire untempered by restraint. In the harsh winters of the northern forests, when food was scarce and survival was uncertain, humans were forced to rely on one another. A family could not thrive alone. The Wendigo embodied what could happen if one ignored the needs of others, if one let hunger, selfishness, or desperation take over the heart. In some stories, the Wendigo was said to move faster than any human, yet so silent that no footsteps could be heard. It could follow its prey for miles through the snow, its cold breath freezing the air, its glowing eyes like twin warnings of doom. To encounter the Wendigo was to confront your deepest fears: hunger, isolation, the breakdown of morality. But to hear the story, to remember it, was to learn gently how to survive not only in the forest, but in life itself. Some tribes describe the Wendigo as constantly growing. The more it consumed, the taller, thinner, and more monstrous it became. Its heart was a void, never full, always aching, and yet it retained a faint echo of its former humanity, a reminder that even the most monstrous among us was once human, capable of choice, capable of love. This duality, dear friend, is what makes the Wendigo so hypnotic. It is a creature of fear, yes, but also a mirror, reflecting the darker corners of the human soul. Picture now a small cabin in the deep forest. Snow blankets the roof and drifts against the door. Inside, a family gathers, huddled together for warmth. Outside, the wind howls, and somewhere, unseen, the Wendigo stalks, moving through the trees. It waits, not merely to terrify, but to remind those within of the importance of care, of community, of restraint. The story seeps into the mind softly, like falling snow, layering thought upon thought, warning and teaching in the same gentle rhythm. The Wendigo is also a spirit of isolation. In the vast northern forests, it is easy to become lost, both physically and spiritually. Stories of the Wendigo reminded travelers to stay close, to respect the land, to avoid arrogance and selfishness. The Wendigo is patient, eternal, lingering in the cold corners of the world, yet always a guide through its cautionary example. Even today, the legend persists. People tell of fleeting glimpses of a tall, emaciated figure in the woods. They speak of sudden chills, the eerie sensation of being followed, the quiet, persistent whisper of a hunger that cannot be sated. And yet, these are not tales meant only to frighten. They are echoes of survival, of morality, of the balance between need and excess. They are the heartbeat of the forest, slow and steady, reminding us to respect ourselves, each other, and the land we walk upon. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine the snow under your feet, the stillness of the forest, the deep quiet that stretches in every direction. In the distance, you hear a faint whisper of wind, a shiver across the trees. You know the Wendigo is there, yet you are safe because you are listening, because the story itself surrounds you like a protective circle. The fear is gentle, not sharp. It teaches, not harms. It reminds, not punishes. And so, the Wendigo moves, not just in the forest, but in our imagination. It drifts through dreams, a tall, silent figure of reflection. It shows us what may happen when desire overwhelms kindness, when hunger overwhelms generosity, and yet it also reminds us of the resilience of humanity, of the ability to choose, to act with care, to survive and thrive in even the coldest and loneliest of places. The Wendigo, dear friend, is both terrifying and mesmerizing. It is a story of winter, hunger, morality, and survival. It is a lesson wrapped in shadow, a whisper of caution that flows into the mind like a slow, icy river. And as you drift further into rest, you may feel the presence of the forest around you, the snow soft beneath your feet, the trees watching silently, the wind moving like a gentle hand across your cheek. The Wendigo is there, but only as a story, only as a guide, only as a reminder of balance, care, and restraint. Skinwalkers, dear friend, now let us travel southward into the high deserts and mesas, where the sun hangs low in the sky and the earth is cracked with heat, yet also filled with hidden shadows. Here, in the lands of the Navajo, there exists a figure whispered of in quiet tones, a being both human and animal, a presence that moves between worlds. This is the Skinwalker, or Yi Naldlushi, a shapeshifter, both feared and respected. The Skinwalker is a story of transformation, of the thin line between human and animal, between the natural and the supernatural. To encounter one is to be reminded that the world is not always as it seems, that appearances can be deceiving, and that power, when misused, can twist the very essence of being. Unlike the trickster, whose mischief may teach lessons gently, the Skinwalker is often a darker presence. It is someone who has chosen the path of malevolence, using sacred powers for selfish gain. Imagine the desert at twilight. Shadows stretch long across the red earth. The wind whispers softly through canyons, carrying the scent of sage and dust. Somewhere, a figure moves, silent, fluid, shifting. In an instant, it is a coyote, padded softly across the sand. In the next, it is a raven, gliding silently against the darkening sky. Then, almost imperceptibly, it becomes human, its eyes gleaming with knowledge not meant for ordinary minds. This is the Skinwalker. It is not bound by form, it is the master of disguise, the hidden predator of folklore. In Navajo belief, to become a Skinwalker is a grave choice. A person must commit acts that are deeply forbidden, breaking taboos to gain the ability to transform. Once the transformation is complete, the individual gains powers that ordinary humans do not possess: speed, cunning, invisibility, the ability to mimic voices or take on the form of any creature. And yet, in gaining this power, they also cross a line. They leave behind part of their humanity, tethering themselves to shadows, secrets, and fear. The Skinwalker teaches caution, dear friend. It reminds us that knowledge and power are not inherently good. How one chooses to use them shapes not only oneself, but the world around. In stories, the Skinwalker is often a force that humbles the proud, tests the clever, and unsettles the complacent. It is not merely a creature to frighten, but a teacher cloaked in darkness, showing us the consequences of actions taken without respect for the natural order. Picture a traveler alone on a desert path. The sun has just dipped behind the mesas, and the sky is painted in deep oranges and purples. In the distance, an animal moves. A coyote, a wolf. It approaches silently, then suddenly changes shape. Its fur becomes skin, its paws become hands, its gaze meets yours. The traveler feels a shiver, a warning, yet also a strange fascination. This encounter is not about harm alone. It is about awareness, the desert itself, alive with story, whispers lessons in patience, caution, and respect. Skinwalker tales are often shared quietly, at night when the wind hums through the canyon walls, when children are tucked safely in bed, when adults huddle near the warmth of a fire. The stories carry an unspoken rhythm, a cadence that mirrors the desert itself, vast, silent, full of hidden movement. To hear the tale is to feel the desert breathe, to sense the unseen creatures that move between shadow and light, to recognize that the world is layered with mysteries that require respect and mindfulness. Even today, stories of skinwalkers persist. Travelers speak of glimpses of humans behaving strangely, of animals appearing and vanishing without explanation, of the sudden sense that they are being watched in the quiet desert night. And these stories, dear friend, are not meant only to frighten, they are echo of ancient wisdom passed down through generations. They teach vigilance, humility, and the understanding that the world is larger, stranger, and more alive than we often perceive. Close your eyes now and imagine the desert night stretching endlessly before you. The stars are bright, scattered across a deep indigo sky. The earth beneath you is warm from the day's sun, cooling slowly in the evening air. Somewhere, just out of sight, a figure moves. Perhaps it is a coyote, perhaps it is a raven, perhaps it is something in between. It is the skinwalker, and yet you are safe. The story surrounds you like a protective circle, a reminder that the unseen is not always threatening, but a teacher, a mirror, a whisper of the vast mysteries that stretch across the land. The skinwalker, dear friend, is not only a tale of fear, it is a story of transformation, of boundaries, of respect. It teaches that power without wisdom is dangerous, that appearances can deceive, and that the world is filled with layers, visible and invisible, all deserving of care. And as you rest here tonight, you may feel the desert's quiet, the slow rhythm of the wind, the sense that even in darkness, there is knowledge, there is story, there is life moving softly beneath the surface. The Jersey Devil, dear friend, now let us travel eastward to the dense pine forests and misty swamps of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. Here, where the trees stand tall and the air is thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, there lurks a creature of shadow and legend, the Jersey Devil. Its story drifts on the winds like a secret, carried from one generation to the next, whispered in the quiet hours of the night. The Jersey Devil is said to have a form both human and monstrous, a combination that strikes both fear and fascination. It is described as having leathery wings, long, sharp claws, a head like a horse or goat, and glowing eyes that pierce the darkness. Its howl echoes through the trees, and when it takes flight, it moves with a terrifying speed, leaving the forest so trembling in its wake. And yet, dear friend, the story is more than just fear. It is a story of mystery, of wonder, and of the deep connection between land, legend, and human imagination. Imagine now the pine barrens at twilight. The shadows stretch long across the forest floor. The air grows cooler, and the mist rises softly from the wet earth. You hear Faintly at first, a rustling among the pines, a sudden crack of a branch, and then a distant scream that echoes through the hills. It is the Jersey Devil, moving silently, unseen, yet felt by every creature in the forest. The birds hush, the deer freeze, and even the wind seems to pause, listening. The origin of the Jersey Devil lies in a tale both tragic and strange. Long ago, a woman named Mother Leeds gave birth to her 13th child. According to legend, the child was cursed or transformed at birth into a creature unlike any other. It flew up the chimney and escaped into the pine barrens, where it has roamed ever since. Some say it is a demon, some a guardian of the forest, and some simply a shadow of human fear given form. Whatever the truth, the Jersey Devil remains a symbol of the mysterious and the unknown, a reminder that the world is not always as it appears. Stories of the Jersey Devil have persisted for centuries, each tale adding a new layer of intrigue. Travelers report sightings, strange sounds in the night, and inexplicable disturbances in the forests. Farmers speak of missing livestock. Hunters whisper of a dark shape glimpsed from the corner of the eye. And yet, there is also a strange respect in these stories, a recognition that the pine barrens themselves are alive, and that the Jersey Devil, however frightening, belongs to the land as much as the trees, the soil, and the wind. The Jersey Devil, dear friend, is a creature of boundaries. It exists between human and animal, between the known and the unknown, between fear and fascination. It reminds us that the natural world is not entirely ours to control, that some mysteries remain beyond our understanding, and that the imagination itself can create beings as real in the mind as any seen with the eyes. Picture now the forest in your mind's eye. The mist curls softly around the base of the trees. The pine needles glisten with dew, and the air smells of earth and rain. A sudden movement catches your attention. A shadow flits among the trunks. You hold your breath. You hear the faint flutter of wings. And then, just for a moment, you see it. The Jersey Devil. Its eyes glow, its wings ripple with power, and then it vanishes, leaving only the whisper of its presence in the wind. And yet, dear friend, there is no need to fear. The Jersey Devil in these stories is a reminder of respect. It is the mystery that lives in the quiet corners of the world, the unseen forces that guide, protect, and sometimes challenge us. It teaches us to tread carefully, to observe the natural world, and to remember that not all things are meant to be understood, but all things are meant to be honored. As you rest, you may feel the soft pulse of the forest beneath your feet, the gentle sway of the trees, the hush of the evening air. The Jersey Devil moves silently through this space, a guardian of the unknown, a shadow of imagination, a whisper of the pine barrens themselves. Its story drifts around you like mist, gentle and mesmerizing, filling your mind with curiosity and calm rather than fear. The Jersey Devil, dear friend, is a tale of mystery, of the uncanny, of the boundary between the natural and supernatural. It reminds us that legends are not only stories, they are reflections of the land, of human wonder, of the delicate balance between fear and respect. And as you drift deeper into rest, you may feel a soft thrill, a sense of the unknown, and a gentle reminder that the world is full of secrets, each waiting to be discovered quietly in dreams and in stories. Bigfoot, dear friend, now let us turn our thoughts to the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, where mist rolls over moss-covered trees and the air is thick with the scent of cedar and damp earth. In these quiet, shadowed woods, there dwells a figure of great mystery, elusive and powerful, the creature known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Its name alone conjures images of vast footprints in the soil, of distant howls carried by the wind, of something immense moving silently through the undergrowth. Bigfoot is often described as towering, covered in dark hair, with eyes that glimmer with intelligence and awareness. It walks upright, leaving enormous tracks that linger in mud and snow, yet it remains largely unseen, glimpsed only from afar or in fleeting moments of shadow and motion. It is a being both feared and revered, a symbol of the untamed wilderness and the mysteries that lie beyond human understanding. Imagine, if you will, a dense forest at twilight. The sun has dipped behind the mountains, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The wind moves softly through the branches, and somewhere in the distance, a branch snaps. The animals pause, listening, and then, in the hush that follows, you sense it, a presence, silent and immense, watching, moving, part of the forest, yet apart from it. This is Bigfoot, moving through its realm with caution, wisdom, and awareness, a shadow among shadows, a whisper in the trees. The legend of Bigfoot is not recent. Indigenous tribes of the Pacific Northwest have told stories of large, hairy beings long before European settlers arrived. The Tsetsailus, the Lummi, the Salish, and other peoples spoke of creatures that moved through the forests, guardians of the wilderness, beings that reminded humans of their place within the natural world. These stories were not simply tales of fear, they were lessons. They taught respect for the forest, for its creatures, and for the delicate balance that sustains life. Bigfoot is often associated with mystery, and its elusiveness adds to its hypnotic allure. Sightings are fleeting, voices heard only in the distance, footprints that vanish with the wind. This ambiguity allows the legend to drift into imagination, taking shape differently in each mind, yet always retaining its essence, a reminder that the world is larger, wilder, and more secret than we can fully comprehend. Imagine now the forest under a soft rain. The needles glisten with moisture, the moss is bright green, and the streams gurgle softly as they wind through rocks. Somewhere, a figure moves, its breath visible in the cool air, its form blending with shadows. It pauses, listening, sensing. It is not hunting, not threatening, only existing. Its presence is a reminder of the quiet, patient power of the natural world and of the deep connection between humans and wilderness. Bigfoot also embodies a sense of wonder and curiosity. People who claim to have seen it often speak not only of fear, but also of awe, of encountering something beyond ordinary experience, a being that is at once alien and intimately connected to the earth. It is a figure of humility, teaching humans that no matter how much we think we know, the world retains its secrets, and there are beings, forces, and mysteries that cannot be tamed or fully explained. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine walking quietly through the forest. The ground is soft beneath your feet, muffled by moss and fallen needles. You hear the gentle rustle of branches, the distant call of a bird, and somewhere, just beyond your vision, Bigfoot moves silently, observing, part of the rhythm of the forest. The presence is not threatening, it is calming, a reminder of life moving quietly and powerfully alongside you. Bigfoot is also a symbol of endurance. For centuries, it has roamed the forests, unseen yet always present. Its legend persists, not only because of fear or fascination, but because it represents something timeless, the untamed, enduring spirit of the wilderness. It reminds us to move slowly, to observe carefully, to listen to the world around us, and to honor the life that surrounds us in every moment. And as you rest, dear friend, let the forest close around you gently. Feel the soft weight of the trees, the moss under your fingers, the whisper of the wind across the canopy. Somewhere, Bigfoot moves quietly, a guardian of the woods, a shadow that teaches patience, awe, and reverence. Its story drifts into your mind like mist, filling you with calm, wonder, and a gentle rhythm that mirrors your own slowing breath. The legend of Bigfoot, dear friend, is more than a story of a creature. It is a story of mystery, of the wild, of respect for the natural world, and of our own connection to life that is vast, secret, and enduring. And as you drift further into rest, you may feel the soft presence of the forest, the quiet pulse of life around you, and the gentle reassurance that some mysteries remain quietly, beautifully, always. The Mothman. Dear friend, let us travel eastward now to the quiet hills and rivers of West Virginia, where the forests are dense, the nights are long, and the air carries a hint of mystery and anticipation. Here, in the darkness between the trees, flits a figure of shadow and light, the Mothman. Its story has haunted the imaginations of countless people, whispered in the still hours of the night, always just beyond the edge of understanding. The Mothman is described as a large, humanoid figure with enormous wings and eyes that glow like lanterns in the dark. Its presence is both terrifying and mesmerizing, a being that exists at the boundary between the natural and the supernatural. Sightings often occur near abandoned areas, rivers, or bridges, places where the ordinary and extraordinary meet. And in every telling, the Mothman carries a sense of warning, a feeling that something unseen is moving, something ancient, watching, waiting. Imagine, dear friend, walking along a quiet road at twilight. The sky is fading to deep indigo. The air, cool against your skin, you hear a soft rustle in the trees, a sudden flutter that does not match any bird or animal you know. Your heart quickens, yet your mind cannot turn away. And then a pair of glowing eyes appears, suspended above the ground, reflecting the last rays of fading sunlight. The figure moves silently, wings folded and enormous, then disappears as quickly as it came. You are left with the memory of its presence, a mixture of awe and unease, a whisper that lingers in your mind long after it vanishes. The origins of the Mothman legend date back to the 1960s. In the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, people reported sightings near the old TNT area, a place with abandoned buildings and dense woods. Soon, stories spread of a winged creature, sometimes seen flying, sometimes perched silently, observing from a distance. The Mothman became both a local myth and a national fascination, a symbol of mystery and a harbinger of events that were sometimes interpreted as warnings or omens. In the tales of Point Pleasant, the Mothman is often associated with foreboding, particularly disasters. The collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967 became intertwined with sightings of the creature, though whether the Mothman caused the tragedy, predicted it, or simply observed is left to the imagination. In this way, the legend speaks to the human need to find meaning, to seek messages in the unknown, and to respect the mysteries that surround us. Imagine the quiet forest near the river at night. Mist rises softly from the water, curling around the trunks of tall trees. The wind moves gently, carrying the scent of damp earth. Somewhere above the canopy, the Mothman glides silently, wings extended, eyes reflecting the pale moonlight. Its movement is graceful, almost hypnotic, as though it is part of the rhythm of the night itself. You feel both the thrill of fear and the fascination of wonder, a gentle tension that pulls you deeper into the story. The Mothman also represents the unknown in ourselves, the parts of life and consciousness that are shadowed, hidden, or mysterious. It reminds us that not all questions have answers, that some things exist simply to be experienced, not understood. In this way, the Mothman is both frightening and comforting, a creature that challenges our sense of certainty while also inviting us to observe carefully, to listen closely, and to honor the unseen. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine standing on a quiet hill near the river. The stars twinkle faintly above, reflected in the smooth surface of the water. A soft wind brushes your face, carrying the scent of pine and earth. And in the distance, high above the trees, you sense movement, a shadow against the moonlight, a pair of glowing eyes watching silently. This is the Mothman. It is neither threatening nor cruel. It is a presence, a guide, a reminder of the mysteries that exist beyond ordinary perception. And as you rest, dear friend, let the soft rhythm of your breathing merge with the quiet pulse of the night. The Mothman drifts through the darkness, a whisper of wings, a flicker of shadow, a gentle reminder that some things are meant to be observed, felt, and respected rather than fully understood. Its story becomes a lullaby of mystery, weaving through your thoughts like soft silk, guiding you gently toward calm and rest. The Mothman, dear friend, is a tale of shadow and light, of mystery and anticipation, of the delicate balance between fear and fascination. It reminds us that the world holds wonders just beyond our sight, that the unknown is not always dangerous, and that even in darkness there is beauty and meaning. And as you drift further into sleep, You may feel the presence of the Mothman softly guiding your mind into quiet reflection, curiosity, and serene calm. The Chupacabra, dear friend, now let us travel southward to the sun-baked landscapes and rolling hills of the Americas, where the wind moves in dry whispers and the nights are warm yet filled with shadows. Here, in the quiet darkness of farms, villages, and distant hills, stalks a creature of legend, the Chupacabra, whose name whispers of blood and mystery, yet whose story is as compelling as it is eerie. The Chupacabra is often described as a creature small but fearsome, with spines or quills along its back, glowing eyes that pierce the night, and a gaze that feels both intelligent and alien. Its name, meaning goat sucker, comes from the tales of livestock found mysteriously drained of blood, yet untouched by ordinary predators. Its presence is fleeting, always just out of reach, yet deeply felt in the quiet hours when the night seems to stretch forever. Imagine, dear friend, a rural landscape at twilight. The sun has dipped behind distant hills, casting long shadows across the pastures. The air smells faintly of grass and earth, the soft sounds of nighttime insects rising in gentle chorus. And somewhere, just beyond sight, a creature moves. It is silent, deliberate, and unseen, yet its presence is known, as if the very air carries the memory of its steps. This is the Chupacabra, drifting through the darkness, a shadow among shadows, a whisper of mystery. Stories of the Chupacabra began circulating in Puerto Rico in the 1990s and soon spread across Latin America and into the United States. Livestock were discovered with punctured wounds, often near the neck or chest, and the blood mysteriously drained. Eyewitnesses described a creature unlike any known animal, sometimes standing on two legs, sometimes crouching close to the ground, sometimes flying or leaping with surprising agility. Each tale added to the legend, layering it with curiosity, fear, and fascination. The Chupacabra, dear friend, embodies a sense of caution and respect for the unknown. It reminds us that the world is filled with creatures and phenomena beyond ordinary understanding. Its story drifts through human imagination like the wind through the trees, hinting at mysteries that cannot be contained, inviting the listener to wonder, to question, and to feel the pulse of the natural and supernatural alike. Picture now a small farm at night. The moon casts silver light across fences and pastures. The animals have gone quiet, sensing something strange in the stillness. A shadow flits between the pens, moving with a speed and grace that seems almost impossible. A soft hiss, a glimmer of glowing eyes, and then the creature vanishes, leaving only the whisper of its presence and the rustle of disturbed grass. In this quiet, eerie moment, the story of the Chupacabra becomes alive, flowing gently into the imagination, both thrilling and soothing. The Chupacabra is also a creature of adaptation and survival. It thrives in the shadows, avoiding human detection while moving with intelligence and intent. It teaches us that even in darkness, life persists, finding ways to endure, to move unseen, to exist at the edges of our understanding. Its story reminds us to respect the delicate balance of ecosystems, the rhythms of night, and the ways in which all creatures, seen and unseen, play a part in the web of life. Close your eyes, dear friend, and imagine the warm night air around you. The grass is soft underfoot. The faint scent of earth rises to meet you. Somewhere beyond the pasture, a pair of eyes glimmer briefly in the moonlight. A small, spiny figure moves silently, its steps deliberate, its presence mysterious, yet calm. This is the chupacabra, not as a creature of terror, but as a reminder of the quiet mysteries that inhabit the world alongside us, unseen, yet deeply present. And as you rest, feel the rhythm of the night around you, the soft chirping of insects, the rustle of leaves, the whisper of the wind. The chupacabra moves through this darkness like a shadow of curiosity, a creature that teaches awe, respect, and wonder for all that is hidden, for all that exists just beyond ordinary perception. Its story drifts softly into your mind like gentle waves, carrying both fascination and calm, lulling the imagination into a tranquil state. The chupacabra, dear friend, is a tale of mystery, of unseen forces, of the balance between fear and respect. It reminds us that the world is larger than what we can see, that life continues in hidden corners, and that even the darkest shadows can teach us about wonder, adaptation, and the quiet rhythms of the natural world. And as you drift further into rest, you may sense its soft presence, a whisper of the unknown, gently guiding your mind into calm, curiosity, and serene reflection. La Llorona, dear friend, now let us travel to the quiet riversides and misty towns of the American Southwest and Mexico, where the water moves gently over rocks, and the evening air carries the soft scent of earth and wildflowers. Here drifts the sorrowful presence of La Llorona, the weeping woman, a spirit of grief, loss, and timeless lamentation. Her story has floated through generations, whispered along riverbanks, told to children in hushed tones, and woven into the fabric of cultural memory. La Llorona is often described as a woman in white, her long hair flowing, her face pale and streaked with tears. She wanders near rivers, lakes, and canals, her wail rising softly into the night, a haunting, melancholic sound that echoes through the trees and lingers in the hearts of those who hear it. Her sorrow is eternal, a reflection of a tragedy so profound that it cannot be soothed, a grief that has carried her across centuries. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet river at twilight. The sky is painted in soft shades of lavender and rose, the water moving slowly and reflecting the fading light. The air is cool and still, the rustle of reeds gentle in the breeze, and then, from the mist above the river, you hear it, a soft, echoing wail, mournful and lingering. It is La Llorona, wandering, searching, calling, not to frighten, but to express the depth of sorrow that exists beyond human understanding. The legend tells that La Llorona was once a mortal woman, living a life filled with love and desire, who suffered a terrible loss. In her grief, she made choices that led to tragedy, and in some versions, she lost her children. Consumed by sorrow and regret, she roams the waters, forever seeking what she cannot reclaim. forever mourning her loss. Her story, dear friend, is both caution and comfort, a tale that warns of the consequences of despair, while also honoring the profound, universal experience of grief. Her wail, the llanto, is said to carry a hypnotic quality. Those who hear it often describe feeling a chill, a tug at the heart, a sense of melancholy that resonates within. It is not meant to terrify, dear friend, but to remind us of our own emotions, to connect us with the empathy, sorrow, and reflection that exist quietly within the human spirit. It teaches us that grief, like the flowing river, moves through time and space, touching everything in its path, gentle yet powerful, soft yet enduring. Imagine now walking along the riverbank as dusk deepens into night. The water glimmers in silvery moonlight, the reeds sway softly, and somewhere ahead, a white figure drifts. La Llorona's eyes glimmer with longing, and her soft cries float through the night air. You feel no fear, only a deep sense of stillness, a quiet awareness that you are witnessing a story older than memory, a tale that moves softly through generations, teaching reflection, empathy, and the gentle rhythm of sorrow and understanding. La Llorona is also a figure of caution, dear friend. Parents have long used her story to encourage children to stay safe near water, to listen, and to respect boundaries. But beyond the caution, there is profound empathy embedded in her legend. She embodies the sorrow of lost opportunity, the depth of regret, and the tenderness of love that cannot be reclaimed. In this way, she is not only haunting, but deeply human, her story drifting through the mind as both warning and meditation. Close your eyes now, dear friend, and picture the river flowing softly before you. The moon casts gentle light across its surface. The reeds sway with the whisper of the breeze, and somewhere in the mist, La Llorona moves, her presence soft yet vivid. You hear her wail, a slow, haunting melody, and as it drifts into your mind, you feel the rhythm of reflection and calm washing over you. Her sorrow is vast, yet it moves gently, like water over smooth stones, a lullaby of remembrance and quiet understanding. And as you rest, dear friend, let her story settle softly around you. The river continues to flow, the night air is still and cool, and the presence of La Llorona is no longer frightening, but soothing, a reminder of the depth of emotion, the gentle power of memory, and the quiet beauty of reflection. Her tale becomes a soft guide, leading your mind into calm, empathy, and serene rest. As her gentle cries fade into the night, La Llorona, dear friend, is a story of grief, of reflection, of caution, and of enduring emotion. She teaches that sorrow is part of life, that memory flows like a river, and that even in sadness there can be beauty, understanding, and quiet peace. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel the gentle presence of her wail, softly guiding your imagination into calm, reflection, and serene dreams. The Flatwoods. Monster, dear friend, now let us travel to the quiet hills and open fields of Flatwoods, West Virginia, where the night sky stretches vast and unbroken, and the air carries the stillness of a town wrapped in darkness. Here, in the still hours after sunset, a strange and mysterious figure appeared, a being that would become known as the Flatwoods Monster, a creature whose story drifts through the mist of the unknown, lingering in memory and imagination alike. The Flatwoods Monster is described as a tall, humanoid figure with a spade-shaped head, glowing eyes, and long, slender arms that seemed almost otherworldly. Witnesses spoke of a foul, choking odor in its presence and a sense of overwhelming energy, as if the air itself had shifted with its arrival. Its appearance was brief, yet profound, leaving an impression of something vast and mysterious. Being that moved at the edge of human understanding, imagine, dear friend, a small rural town at night. The streets are quiet, houses dark and silent, and the air is cool against your skin. Somewhere beyond the tree line, a soft rustle disturbs the stillness, and then, from the shadows, a tall figure emerges, its eyes glowing like lanterns in the darkness. You feel a chill, not of fear alone, but of awe, a sense that the world is larger, stranger, and more alive than ordinary perception allows. This is the Flatwoods Monster, moving silently, leaving only its impression upon the night. The encounter with the Flatwoods Monster in 1952 became the source of a legend that continues to intrigue people to this day. On that night, witnesses reported a strange object streaking across the sky, followed by the appearance of the tall, eerie creature near the hills. The air carried a peculiar, nauseating odor, and the witnesses felt an intense sense of pressure and unease, as though the very atmosphere had changed. And yet, there was also wonder, a recognition that they were seeing something utterly extraordinary, something that defied explanation. This story, dear friend, is a reminder of the unknown that exists just beyond our perception. The Flatwoods Monster teaches that the world is layered with mysteries, and that even in the quietest fields and the most ordinary towns, something vast, strange, and unforgettable can appear. It is a symbol of curiosity, a being that invites observation, imagination, and reflection, rather than fear alone. Picture now a soft, moonlit field. The grass sways gently in a light breeze. The distant trees are dark silhouettes against the sky, and the air is still, almost reverent. Somewhere beyond the horizon, a faint light glimmers, and a tall figure moves silently, gliding rather than walking, its presence both alien and mesmerizing. You feel your heartbeat slow as you observe, your mind absorbing the wonder of the unknown, the quiet rhythm of the night, the hypnotic pull of mystery that exists in the world around you. The Flatwoods Monster also embodies the human fascination with the unexplained, dear friend. Its story persists because it captures the imagination, the thrill of encountering something beyond ordinary life, the wonder of glimpsing the extraordinary in the most ordinary places. It reminds us that even the familiar world can hold surprises, that curiosity is a gentle guide, and that mystery can soothe as much as it can thrill, drawing the mind into quiet contemplation. Close your eyes now, dear friend, and imagine standing at the edge of that moonlit field. The night is cool and still, the grass soft beneath your feet, and the wind whispers softly through the trees. Somewhere in the distance, the Flatwoods Monster drifts, a shadow of light and motion, a being that teaches awe, curiosity, and gentle respect for the unknown. Its presence is not threatening, it is mesmerizing, hypnotic, a lullaby of mystery flowing through the mind like soft waves. And as you rest, dear friend, let the story of the Flatwoods monster settle gently around you. Feel the night air, the soft sway of the grass, the hush of the town beneath the stars. Its story becomes a gentle guide, leading your thoughts into calm, curiosity, and wonder, reminding you that the world is vast, layered, and full of subtle mysteries that whisper softly to those who take the time to notice. The Flatwoods Monster, dear friend, is a tale of awe, mystery, and the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. It reminds us that the unknown is not always frightening, that wonder can coexist with calm, and that even brief glimpses of something strange and vast can teach us patience, observation, and gentle respect for the world. And as you drift further into sleep, you may sense the soft presence of this being gliding quietly through your imagination, a gentle reminder of mystery, curiosity, and serene reflection. The loup-garou, dear friend. Now, let us travel to the quiet bayous and deep forests of Louisiana and the French-Canadian settlements of North America, where the mist rises from rivers and swamps, and the air carries the scent of moss, water, and earth. Here dwells a creature of shadow and transformation, the loup-garou, a werewolf-like figure whose legend drifts through the centuries, lingering in the imagination like the fog over a still river. The loup-garou is often described as a human cursed to transform into a wolf or a wolf-like creature, sometimes under the light of the full moon, sometimes at will, and other times as a punishment for breaking sacred or moral laws. Its presence is both frightening and hypnotic, a reflection of the thin line between civilization and wilderness, between human control and primal instinct. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet Louisiana night. The moon hangs low over the swamps, its silver light reflecting on dark water. Cypress trees rise like silent sentinels, their roots tangled in the marsh, their branches heavy with hanging moss. Somewhere in the shadows, a figure moves, a man or woman, but not entirely, shifting, transforming, fur glistening in the moonlight, eyes glowing with animal intensity. This is the loup-garou, wandering the swamps, neither wholly human nor wholly beast, a bridge between worlds. The legend of the loup-garou is as old as the French settlers who brought it to North America. They carried tales from Europe of humans cursed to become wolves, stories used to caution communities, to enforce moral conduct, and to explain the unexplainable. In the Americas, the stories adapted, blending with local beliefs, landscapes, and experiences, producing tales that were at once cautionary, haunting, and mesmerizing. In some versions, the loup-garou is a warning against breaking religious or social taboos, a symbol of the consequences of transgression. In others, it embodies the primal instincts within us all, the desire, anger, and ferocity that lie dormant beneath our calm exterior. Encountering the loup-garou is not merely frightening, it is a reminder of the balance between control and instinct, reason and emotion, human and animal. Imagine now walking through a foggy bayou. The water is still, mirroring the soft glow of the moon. The air is thick with mist, carrying faint whispers of frogs, insects, and the distant call of a heron. You sense movement just beyond the trees, silent, deliberate, and unsettling. A shadow detaches from the fog, taking shape, shifting, moving with fluid grace. You feel a chill, yes, but also fascination, a gentle pull of curiosity, a hypnotic sense of witnessing something ancient and wild. The loup-garou also teaches empathy, dear friend. Though it may terrify in its form, it is often a human soul trapped in a cycle of punishment or curse. Its story reminds us of the complexity of existence, the consequences of choices, and the ways in which actions ripple across time and space. To hear its story is to reflect on restraint, morality, and the quiet power of transformation, not just in the world, but within ourselves. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine the bayou stretching endlessly around you. Cypress roots twist gently into the water, fireflies blink softly, and the mist moves like a slow river of air. Somewhere in the fog, the loup-garou drifts, a figure of shadow and silver, a being caught between worlds, silently teaching the delicate balance of life, instinct, and choice. Its presence is not aggressive, it is hypnotic, meditative, a living story that drifts into the mind like soft fog, filling the imagination with awe, reflection, and gentle calm. And as you rest, dear friend, let the loup-garou's story settle softly around you. The water moves quietly, the night air is still and fragrant, and the shadowy figure drifts into the distance, leaving only its lesson behind. That transformation, consequence, and instinct are part of life's rhythm, and that mystery and reflection coexist with calm and serenity. Its legend becomes a soft guide, carrying your thoughts into gentle reflection, slow breathing, and tranquil imagination. The loup-garou, dear friend, is a tale of transformation, morality, instinct, and the quiet power of myth. It reminds us that the line between human and animal, conscious and instinctive, known and unknown, is thin, shifting, and deeply hypnotic. And as you drift further into sleep, you may sense the soft presence of this figure, gliding silently through the fog of your mind, guiding you into calm, reflective, and serene dreams. The thunderbird, dear friend, now let us rise above the forests, mountains, and rivers of North America, where the sky stretches endlessly and the wind carries the whispers of ancient stories. Here soars a being of immense power and awe, the thunderbird, a creature whose wings command storms, whose eyes flash with lightning, and whose presence echoes through the legends of many Native American tribes. The thunderbird is described as a massive bird, far larger than any known, with feathers that shimmer in hues of deep black and brilliant gold. Its wings beat with such force that storms rise in its wake, and thunder follows its flight like the drumbeats of an unseen sky. Lightning flashes from its eyes, and rain often falls where it passes, creating life and renewal with each motion. To witness it is to feel the heartbeat of the natural world, a pulse that is both mighty and mesmerizing. Imagine, dear friend, standing atop a quiet hill as dark clouds gather above. The wind stirs, carrying the scent of rain and earth. Suddenly, a shadow glides across the sky, immense and graceful. The wings stretch wide, casting darkness below, and then the sound, a deep, rolling thunder, followed by a flash of lightning reflected in the clouds. This is the thunderbird soaring above the world, a living storm, a reminder of the majesty, mystery, and rhythm of nature itself. The thunderbird holds great significance in many tribal cultures, including the Ojibwe, Sioux, and Kwakwakawaku. It is often seen as a protector, a bringer of life-giving rain, and a symbol of strength, power, and spiritual authority. Its flight is a dance of balance, a demonstration that the forces of nature are not random, but flowing, intentional, and deeply intertwined with human existence. Imagine now a river valley below, trees bending gently in the approaching storm, the water sparkling with reflections of lightning in the sky. Somewhere above, the thunderbird circles silently, wings glinting in the faint sunlight behind the storm clouds. You feel the vibration of power, a calm thrill that spreads through your chest, a deep connection to the vastness above, to the rhythm of the earth and sky, and to the timeless energy of the legend. The thunderbird also embodies the spiritual connection between humans and nature, dear friend. It is a being that reminds us of respect for the land, for the sky, for all living things. Its story teaches that power can be gentle as well as mighty, that awe inspires humility, and that the world is filled with rhythms and forces far larger than ourselves, quietly guiding, nurturing, and sometimes warning us. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine the sky stretching endlessly above you. Clouds roll slowly, soft rumblings of distant thunder move through the air, and somewhere in the vast blue, the thunderbird glides, majestic and silent. Its wings create currents of air that brush your skin. Its eyes flash lightning that illuminates the forest below, and you feel the rhythm of the world aligning with your breath, a gentle, hypnotic pulse flowing through you as you rest, dear friend. Let the presence of the thunderbird settle softly around you. The wind moves gently. The sound of distant rain drifts through your senses, and the immense shadow above carries with it awe, serenity, and calm. Its story becomes a meditation, a reminder that strength and beauty coexist, that nature is both mighty and tender, and that even the grandest forces can guide us toward reflection and rest. The Thunderbird, dear friend, is a tale of power, protection, mystery, and harmony. It reminds us that the skies and storms are alive, that the natural world holds forces both visible and unseen, and that every breath, every movement, every flutter of wind is part of a larger, beautiful rhythm. And as you drift further into sleep, you may sense the wings of the thunderbird above you, gently guiding your mind into calm, wonder, and serene dreams. The Headless Horseman, dear friend, now let us journey to the quiet roads, misty fields, and shadowed woods of early America, where the fog clings low to the ground and the moon casts silver light upon everything it touches. Here rides a figure both terrifying and hypnotic, the Headless Horseman, a spectral rider whose legend has echoed across centuries, haunting imagination and memory alike. The Headless Horseman is often depicted as a tall, imposing figure, dressed in dark military garb, astride a powerful black horse. Its most striking feature, of course, is the absence of a head, replaced often by a flickering jack-o'-lantern, a glowing orb, or a ghastly, empty space. Its presence is both menacing and mesmerizing, a reminder that some stories linger not because they frighten, but because they are unforgettable, weaving themselves into the rhythm of our thoughts. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet country road at dusk. The wind rustles the fallen leaves along the path, and the trees stretch long shadows across the road. Somewhere ahead, the sound of hooves begins faintly, growing in cadence and power. The air seems to thrum, the mist curls and drifts, and then the figure emerges from the shadows, a horseman without a head, riding swiftly yet silently, leaving only the impression of motion and the faint glow of its lantern-like visage. This is the Headless Horseman, gliding through the night, a specter of mystery, power, and story. The legend of the Headless Horseman is most famously tied to Washington Irving's 1820 tale, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, set in the quiet village of the same name. In Irving's story, the horseman is said to be the ghost of a Hessian soldier who lost his head to a cannonball during the Revolutionary War. He rides nightly, seeking his lost head, haunting the fields and roads of the village, instilling both fear and fascination in those who encounter him. Imagine now the sleepy village, the windows dark and the streets silent. You hear the faint clip-clop of hooves on cobblestone, a sound both rhythmic and hypnotic. A figure rides along the road, black cloak billowing in the wind, lantern glowing faintly where the head should be. You feel your pulse slow, not from fear alone, but from the mesmerizing cadence of the scene, the synchronization of motion, shadow, and anticipation. You watch, breath held, heart aligned with the rhythm of hooves, fully immersed in the story unfolding around you. The Headless Horseman is also a symbol of unresolved longing and haunting. It represents the consequences of violent history, of unfinished stories, and of the lingering echoes of human action. In this way, the legend is not only chilling, but reflective, a tale that encourages consideration of history, consequence, and the unseen forces that persist long after an event has passed. Picture walking along a fog-laden bridge over a gentle stream. The water reflects the pale glow of the moon, rippling softly with each whisper of wind. Suddenly, the sound of hooves disturbs the silence. A black shadow appears in the distance, approaching steadily. The Headless Horseman rides past, lantern flickering, cloak flowing, and you feel a shiver that is not just fear, but awe, a quiet, hypnotic acknowledgement of mystery and story unfolding before your imagination. And yet, dear friend, there is calm in this story. The horseman, though fearsome in appearance, moves with a rhythm that is entrancing, a gentle reminder that even in the eerie and unknown, there is a pattern, a flow, a story to be observed. Its tale is a meditation on suspense, anticipation, and the beauty of narrative that lingers in memory, wrapping the mind in a gentle, hypnotic cadence. Close your eyes now, dear friend, and imagine the quiet fields and shadowed woods stretching endlessly. The wind whispers through the trees, the moonlight dances across the mist, and the faint echo of hooves moves softly through the night. The headless horseman rides, a rhythm of shadow and light, a specter, story, and legend, guiding your mind into calm observation, reflection, and serene wonder. As you rest, dear friend, let the presence of the headless horseman settle softly around you. The night is still, the mist moves gently, and the distant echo of hooves becomes a lullaby of mystery and calm. Its story drifts into your thoughts like smoke, mesmerizing, hypnotic, and soothing, reminding you that even tales of fear can lead to reflection, fascination, and serenity. The Headless Horseman, dear friend, is a tale of haunting, rhythm, and narrative power. It teaches us that stories linger, that history casts shadows, and that mystery can be both chilling and calming. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel the hypnotic presence of the horseman's hooves, softly guiding your mind into dreams, wonder, and quiet reflection. The Skinwalkers, dear friend, now let us journey to the high deserts, canyons, and sacred lands of the American Southwest, where the mesas rise like ancient guardians and the wind carries secrets from one ridge to another. Here lurks a presence whispered among the Navajo people, a being both feared and fascinating, the Skinwalker, or Yi Lushi, a shapeshifter with the power to assume the form of any creature it desires, walking between worlds, human and animal, seen and unseen. Skinwalkers are said to be witches or sorcerers who have learned forbidden magic, granting them the power to transform at will. They can appear as coyotes, wolves, owls, or even other humans, using these forms to stalk, deceive, or teach harsh lessons. Their presence is chilling, yet mesmerizing, a reminder that the world is layered with hidden forces and that appearances can be fluid, unreliable, and mysterious. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet canyon at twilight. The sun has dipped behind the mesas, casting long shadows across the desert floor. The wind stirs the sagebrush softly, carrying the scent of earth and stone. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote's howl rises, echoing off the cliffs, and you sense a movement, deliberate and silent. A shadow shifts, not quite animal, not quite human, blending seamlessly into the landscape. This is the Skinwalker, moving unseen, a presence both ancient and hypnotic, teaching patience, observation, and respect for the hidden layers of the world. The legends of Skinwalkers are deeply intertwined with Navajo culture and spirituality. They are not merely creatures of fear, but also vessels of moral and cultural lessons, embodying warnings about greed, hubris, and the misuse of power. To speak of a skinwalker is to acknowledge the unseen world, the thin veil between ordinary life and forces that defy comprehension, and to remember that some knowledge comes with responsibility. Imagine now walking softly along a desert path under a vast, starry sky. The mesas rise like dark silhouettes, the night air cool against your skin. Somewhere nearby, a figure shifts, moving with a grace that is neither fully human nor fully animal. You feel a thrill, yes, but also a calm fascination, a gentle awareness that you are witnessing something extraordinary, a being that exists on the boundary between worlds, reminding you of the delicate balance between observation and imagination, fear and respect. Skinwalkers are said to carry a presence that can unsettle even the most grounded observer. People report feeling watched, hearing whispers on the wind, and catching glimpses of movement too quick or strange to identify. And yet, dear friend, there is also a hypnotic rhythm to their tales. The way a shadow moves through sagebrush, the sound of wind echoing through a canyon, the pulse of imagination attuned to the unknown. Their stories are not merely frightening, they are meditative, inviting the mind to notice, to reflect, and to respect what cannot be fully explained. Close your eyes now, dear friend, and imagine the desert stretching endlessly around you. The mesas rise darkly against the star-filled sky. The night air is fragrant and still, and a shadow flits silently among the rocks and sage. This is the Skinwalker, a being of mystery and transformation, gliding effortlessly between forms, teaching the hypnotic beauty of observation, patience, and awareness. Its presence is not aggressive. It is mesmerizing, a gentle rhythm that draws your thoughts into calm and quiet fascination. And as you rest, dear friend, let the story of the skinwalkers settle softly around you. The desert hums with life, the wind whispers secrets through the canyon, and the shadowy figure moves silently in the distance. Its legend drifts into your mind like soft sand carried on the wind, hypnotic, entrancing, and calming, reminding you that the world is full of unseen forces, hidden layers, and quiet mysteries that move gently alongside our own existence. The Skinwalkers, dear friend, are tales of transformation, hidden power, and the thin boundary between the known and unknown. They teach respect, patience, observation, and the mesmerizing rhythms of life beyond the ordinary. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel the soft presence of these shapeshifters moving quietly through your imagination, guiding your mind into calm, wonder, and serene reflection. The Hodog dear friend. Now, let us travel to the misty forests, rolling hills, and tranquil rivers of Wisconsin, where the air is dense with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the morning fog hugs the landscape like a soft blanket. Here dwells a creature of peculiar charm and mystery, the hodog, a beast whose legend has both startled and delighted those who have told its tale, weaving itself into the fabric of Midwestern folklore. The hodog is often described as a large, fearsome creature with the body of a massive reptile, horns curving from its head, sharp fangs glinting in the dim light, and spines running down its back. Its eyes glow with a mischievous intelligence, and its roar echoes through the forest like distant thunder. And yet, dear friend, the Hodog's story is not only one of terror, it is also whimsical, fascinating, and hypnotic, a blend of fear, curiosity, and the irresistible lure of the unknown. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet forest at dawn. The mist rises from the ground, curling around the roots of ancient trees. The air smells of pine, moss, and damp soil. Somewhere in the distance, a low rumble shakes the undergrowth, a sound that is both thrilling and mesmerizing. You catch a movement between the trunks, large, serpentine, and imposing, and then the creature steps into a patch of soft sunlight, horns glinting, teeth bared. This is the Hodag, a creature born of imagination, storytelling, and the strange beauty of the unknown. The legend of the Hodag is closely tied to a man named E.S.D. Dad Sawyer, who in the late 19th century claimed to have captured the beast in the forests near Rhinelander, Wisconsin. According to his story, the Hodag was a terror to local cattle and people, with an insatiable appetite and a penchant for mischief. Skeptics doubted the existence of such a creature, yet the tale spread, becoming part of the region's folklore and inspiring a tradition of imagination, storytelling, and local pride. Imagine now walking along a mist-covered riverbank. The water flows silently, reflecting the soft light of early morning, while the trees stand tall and still. Suddenly, the rumble of a distant roar vibrates through the air. A shadow moves among the underbrush, large, sinuous, and hypnotic. You sense a presence that is at once terrifying and fascinating, a creature that defies expectation, reminding you that the world holds wonders, both real and imagined, each capable of stirring awe in the heart. The Hodag is more than a tale of fear, dear friend. It is a story of imagination, of the human desire to explore the unknown, and of the way myths can bring communities together. Children and adults alike have long shared stories of sightings, adventures, and playful encounters, each retelling adding layers to the legend. In this way, the Hodag serves as both a reflection of the wild forests of Wisconsin and a mirror of human creativity, curiosity, and wonder. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine the forest stretching endlessly before you. Mist coils softly around the trunks of ancient pines. Birds call faintly in the distance, and the Hodag moves silently through the shadows, its horns gleaming, its tail swaying with hypnotic rhythm. It is not threatening, not aggressive, but mesmerizing. A story brought to life in your imagination, a creature that invites observation, reflection, and a gentle sense of wonder. And as you rest, dear friend, let the legend of the Hodag settle softly around you. The forest remains still. The morning air carries the faint scent of pine, and the soft rumble of the Hodag's presence drifts into your mind like a lullaby of mystery. Its tale guides your imagination into gentle exploration, curiosity, and calm, reminding you that the world is full of hidden wonders, both imagined and real, that move quietly alongside our own lives. The Hodag, dear friend, is a story of mystery, imagination, and the hypnotic beauty of folklore. It teaches us that tales can be both thrilling and soothing, that the unknown invites curiosity rather than fear, and that the world is filled with creatures, stories, and wonders that linger quietly in the shadows. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel the soft presence of the Hodag moving gently through your imagination, guiding your mind into calm, wonder, and serene dreams. The black-eyed children, dear friend, now let us wander through quiet neighborhoods, abandoned streets, and the dimly lit edges of towns across America, where shadows stretch long and the night carries a soft, eerie hush. Here move beings both unsettling and mesmerizing, the black-eyed children, children with eyes as dark as midnight, whose presence lingers like a whisper in the mind, captivating and hypnotic. These children are often described as appearing ordinary at first. Two small figures, sometimes on the sidewalk, sometimes knocking at a door, but upon closer glance, their eyes are entirely black, voids that seem to absorb light, emotion, and understanding. Their voices are calm, polite, almost monotone, yet somehow chilling. They ask to enter, to be let in, yet instinctively, one knows it is unwise. Their presence is subtle, lingering, hypnotic, drawing attention and curiosity, while simultaneously evoking an unexplainable unease. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet suburban street at dusk. The sky is a soft gradient of violet and silver, the air cool and still. The streetlights flicker faintly, casting pools of pale light on the sidewalks. A soft knock echoes from a door, a gentle rapping that is polite yet insistent. You open the door slowly, and there they are, two children, small, calm, and eerily composed. Their eyes are entirely black, deep and endless, and as you gaze into them, time seems to slow. The world narrows to their quiet presence, their soft voices repeating a simple request. This is the black-eyed children, a legend that captivates, unnerves, and hypnotizes simultaneously. The phenomenon of black-eyed children has been reported since the late 20th century across many states and locations. Witnesses describe encounters where the children approach at night, sometimes asking for help, sometimes requesting entry into homes or vehicles. Those who have encountered them often report sudden, deep sense of dread, an inexplicable refusal that must be heeded, and yet a lingering curiosity about the beings themselves. Their stories are whispered across communities, shared online, and recounted as modern folklore, haunting imagination with each retelling. Imagine now standing by a dimly lit car at night. The road is quiet, the headlights casting long shadows. From the periphery, movement is seen. Two small figures approaching slowly, deliberately. You feel a chill that is not just from the night air, but from the hypnotic pull of their presence, the impossible blackness of their eyes, the calm insistence of their voices. Their request is simple, yet it resonates deep within, a soft tension that stretches time and perception. You are fully present in this encounter, entranced by the quiet rhythm of mystery. The black-eyed children are also a mirror of human curiosity and caution. Dear friend, they remind us that appearances can be deceptive, that instinct and intuition are as vital as reason, and that some forces, while seemingly harmless, are deeply otherworldly. Their legend hypnotizes because it balances familiarity with the unknown. Children, the epitome of innocence, transformed into beings of eerie enigma. Encountering them, even in imagination, teaches patience, observation, and respect for subtle, mysterious forces. Close your eyes, dear friend, and imagine a quiet street, dimly illuminated by flickering lampposts. The night air is still and fragrant, and two figures approach slowly, their movements calm and precise. Their black eyes meet yours, drawing your attention, yet not threatening, only hypnotically holding it. You feel your breath align with the rhythm of the encounter, the quiet tension and fascination merging into a meditative awareness. And as you rest, dear friend, let the presence of the black-eyed children settle softly around you. The street remains still, the air gentle, and the shadowy figures drift away slowly, leaving only the echo of curiosity and awe in your imagination. Their story moves into your mind like a slow, winding lullaby, mesmerizing, gentle, and calming, guiding you into reflection, fascination, and serene rest. The black-eyed children, dear friend, are a tale of curiosity, caution, and hypnotic enigma. They remind us that even the familiar can hold mystery, that perception can be challenged, and that fascination and calm can coexist in the presence of the unknown. And as you drift further into sleep, you may sense their quiet presence, soft and distant, gently guiding your imagination into calm, wonder, and peaceful dreams. The Bell Witch. Dear friend, now let us travel to the quiet, rolling hills and wooded landscapes of early 19th century Tennessee, where the wind moves softly through the trees, and the nights are long, still, and full of subtle sounds. Here lingers a presence that has haunted generations, the Bell Witch, a spirit both terrifying and mesmerizing, whose story drifts through history like a soft, chilling lullaby. The Bell Witch is described as a malevolent, invisible entity that tormented the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee in the early 1800s. It spoke, moved objects, and appeared at will, often whispering ominous threats or making strange noises that echoed through the family home. Yet, dear friend, its story is hypnotic in its detail, drawing the mind slowly into the rhythm of eerie events, the gentle suspense of unexplained phenomena, and the quiet tension of history unfolding in stillness. Imagine, dear friend, a log cabin surrounded by dark woods, the evening air cool and scented with pine and smoke. The children play quietly inside, the fire flickering, shadows dancing along the walls. Suddenly, a soft tapping begins, slow, deliberate rhythm, like someone walking softly across the floor. Then, a whisper drifts through the room, unintelligible at first, then forming words, calm yet chilling. The Bell Witch has arrived, invisible yet undeniable, moving through the air with quiet power, commanding attention, respect, and a hypnotic fascination. The legend tells that the Bell Witch first appeared to John Bell and his family around 1817. It began with subtle disturbances, objects moving without explanation, animals behaving strangely, soft voices in the night. Over time, the activity intensified, becoming frightening yet strangely mesmerizing. People traveled from nearby towns to witness the phenomena, drawn by curiosity, suspense, and the unexplainable nature of the events. The Bell Witch became both a local legend and a symbol of the unseen forces that can touch ordinary lives. Imagine now standing outside the cabin at night. The trees sway gently in the moonlight. Shadows stretch long across the clearing, and a soft, eerie whisper drifts on the wind. The air feels charged, as though it holds secrets just beyond perception. Somewhere inside, the Bell Witch moves with quiet purpose, her presence shifting the atmosphere, bending the ordinary world into something both hypnotic and unsettling. You watch, entranced, feeling the rhythm of her invisible movements, each soft noise a lullaby of suspense and quiet reflection. The Bell Witch also embodies the tension between fear and curiosity, dear friend. Its story reminds us that some forces are beyond understanding, that the unseen can hold both menace and fascination, and that listening, observing, and feeling are as important as reasoning. Encounters with the Bell Witch are not merely frightening, they are meditative, drawing attention to the small, subtle details of the world and the mysterious energies that surround us. Close your eyes now, dear friend, and imagine the cabin surrounded by still, dark woods. The moon casts silver light across the clearing. The night air is cool and fragrant, and somewhere inside, the Bell Witch moves silently, whispering and shifting objects with gentle precision. Her presence is not aggressive, but mesmerizing, a rhythm of unseen energy that draws your attention, slows your thoughts, and guides your imagination into calm observation and reflective awareness. And as you rest, dear friend, let the story of the Bell Witch settle softly around you. The wind moves gently through the trees, the firelight flickers, and the faint echo of whispers drifts into your mind like a lullaby of mystery. Its legend flows into your imagination, hypnotic, captivating, and calming, guiding you into contemplation, fascination, and serene rest. The Bell Witch, dear friend, is a tale of suspense, unseen forces, and hypnotic fascination. It reminds us that even the most ordinary homes and lives can hold mysteries, that curiosity and caution coexist, and that the unknown can be mesmerizing rather than frightening. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel the gentle presence of this spirit quietly moving through your imagination, guiding your thoughts into calm, wonder, and peaceful dreams. The giants of American folklore, dear friend, now let us wander across the vast landscapes of North America, from towering mountains to endless plains, from dense forests to sweeping valleys, where the winds carry whispers of ancient times and the earth seems alive with memory. Here dwell beings of immense size and strength, the giants whose stories stretch across centuries, inspiring awe, reverence, and a gentle shiver of fascination. Giants are often described as enormous humans, far taller and stronger than ordinary people, sometimes possessing extraordinary wisdom, sometimes wielding immense physical power. In many Native American and early settler tales, these beings are both protectors and challengers, shaping the land with their footsteps and teaching lessons through their presence. Their stories moving slowly through the ages like a soft, hypnotic rhythm. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet valley at dawn. Mist curls along the slopes, dew glistens on the grass, and the air is soft and still. Somewhere on a distant ridge, A massive figure moves with deliberate grace. Its footsteps echo faintly, sending ripples through the earth, and its shadow stretches across the valley like a slowly moving cloud. This is a giant, a being of both majesty and mystery, a gentle rhythm in the landscape that commands attention and evokes quiet reflection. The legends of giants appear across many Native American cultures. The Paiute, the Sioux, and the Iroquois, among others, tell stories of enormous beings who once roamed the land, sometimes helping humans, sometimes challenging them, leaving behind enormous footprints, strange markings, or even stones arranged in unusual patterns. These stories often carry lessons of respect for nature, humility before strength, and awareness of forces larger than oneself. Imagine now walking through an ancient forest. Towering trees rise above you, their leaves rustling softly in the wind. The earth beneath your feet feels firm and alive. Somewhere nearby, a faint, rhythmic sound vibrates through the air, like distant thunder, yet soft, deliberate, hypnotic. You look up, and the silhouette of a giant glides through the trees, moving with calm, measured steps. Its presence is not frightening, it is mesmerizing, a reminder of the slow, immense rhythms that shape the world. Giants in folklore are also associated with the shaping of landscapes, dear friend. Some stories tell of mountains formed from their resting places, rivers carved by their movements, and valleys created by their immense weight and care. Their legends serve as a bridge between the natural world and the human imagination, blending awe, wonder, and hypnotic narrative into a meditation on size, power, and presence. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine standing in a vast valley, the morning mist curling around ancient trees and rock formations. Somewhere on the distant horizon, a giant moves slowly, each step a gentle vibration through the earth. Its shadow stretches long and hypnotic, and you feel the rhythm of its presence align with your own breathing, a meditative cadence connecting you to the immense, timeless forces of the world. And as you rest, dear friend, let the stories of the giants settle softly around you. The air is still. The earth hums faintly beneath your feet, and the distant, measured movements of these beings drift into your imagination like a lullaby of majesty and wonder. Their legend flows through your mind, mesmerizing, calming, and awe-inspiring, guiding you into reflection, fascination, and serene rest. The giants, dear friend, are tales of immense power, quiet majesty, and hypnotic fascination. They teach us humility, patience, and wonder at the vast rhythms of the natural world. And as you drift further into sleep, you may sense the soft presence of these enormous beings, moving slowly through your imagination, guiding your mind into calm, awe-filled, and peaceful dreams. The Rougarou, dear friend, now let us travel to the winding bayous, cypress swamps, and mist-laden landscapes of Louisiana, where the air is thick with humidity, the water mirrors the silver moon, and the soft croak of frogs and rustle of reeds create a hypnotic rhythm. Here lurks a being both feared and mesmerizing, the Rougarou, a creature that slips silently between human and beast, shadow and form, known in stories as a werewolf-like figure that embodies both caution and curiosity. The rougarou is often described as a large, wolf-like creature, sometimes appearing more human than beast, sometimes more animal than man. Its eyes glow in the night, piercing and intelligent, and its presence is accompanied by a low, rolling growl, a sound that echoes through the swamps like the soft drumbeat of unseen forces. Its story is deeply hypnotic, drawing attention to the interplay of shadow, movement, and the unseen rhythms of the natural world. Imagine, dear friend, a quiet swamp under a blanket of moonlight. The water reflects the stars above. The reeds sway softly with the gentle breeze, and the cypress trees rise like silent guardians. Somewhere in the shadows, a movement catches your eye, a figure gliding effortlessly, blending human form with the silhouette of a wolf. The rougarou passes silently, and you feel a shiver, not of fear alone, but of awe, as if witnessing the rhythm of mystery itself unfolding before your eyes. The legend of the rougarou is particularly strong in Cajun communities, where it has been passed down through generations as a tale of caution, morality, and the power of the unknown. Some stories say that a person who breaks a sacred rule may be cursed to become a rougarou, wandering the swamps for a set period, a reminder that choices ripple through time, and that the unseen world holds both consequence and fascination. Imagine, now, walking slowly along a foggy bayou trail. The water laps softly against the banks, the trees sway gently, and the air carries a mixture of swamp scents, earth, moss, and damp leaves. Somewhere just beyond the reach of your sight, the rougarou moves silently. Its glowing eyes watch with patient intensity, its movements fluid and hypnotic, teaching that the forest is alive, that the night holds rhythms and forces beyond ordinary perception, and that every shadow may tell a story. The rougarou, dear friend, is also a reflection of human curiosity and morality. Its story reminds us that the unknown can be both fascinating and instructive, that observation and intuition are as important as reason, and that even in darkness, beauty and rhythm can exist alongside caution. Encountering it, even in imagination, draws the mind into slow, meditative awareness, focusing on the subtleties of movement, shadow, and story. Close your eyes for a moment, dear friend, and imagine the bayou stretching endlessly before you. The moon glimmers on the water, mist curls around the cypress roots, and the faint sound of movement drifts from the shadows. The rougarou glides silently among the reeds, a creature of transformation and mystery, a rhythm of the natural and supernatural world, guiding your thoughts into calm observation, gentle curiosity, and hypnotic reflection. And as you rest, dear friend, let the story of the rougarou settle softly around you. The night is still, the water moves gently, and the soft rustle of reeds echoes like a lullaby of mystery. Its legend drifts into your imagination like a gentle tide, hypnotic, calming, and mesmerizing, inviting you to rest, reflect, and explore the quiet mysteries of the world through serene dreams. The rougarou, dear friend, is a tale of transformation, caution, and hypnotic intrigue, it reminds us that even familiar landscapes hold hidden rhythms, that mystery can be both enchanting and instructive, and that the night carries stories meant to slow the mind and soothe the imagination. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel the soft presence of the rougarou gliding silently through your thoughts, guiding your mind into calm, wonder, and serene dreams. Welcome back, dear friend, as we now slowly draw our journey through the rich tapestry of American mythology and folklore to a gentle close, from the shadowed forests of the Wendigo to the silent, towering presence of giants, from the misty bayous of the rougarou to the glowing eyes of the black-eyed children. We have traveled together through stories that span centuries, cultures, and landscapes, each one whispering secrets of the unknown, the mysterious, and the awe-inspiring. Take a deep, calming breath, dear friend, and feel the rhythm of these stories settle softly into your mind. Imagine the forests, mountains, swamps, deserts, and plains stretching endlessly around you, each one holding a legend, a creature, a whisper of the past. The air is still and fragrant. The night carries a gentle hum, and the gentle pulse of these myths moves through your thoughts like a slow, soothing tide. We have seen spirits that haunt quietly like the Bell Witch, creatures that soar above the trees like the Thunderbird, beings that slip between forms like the Skinwalker, and legends that merge imagination with the natural world like the Hodog, the Mothman, and the Giants. Each story, dear friend, is a reminder that the world around us is layered with wonder, and that even in the shadows there is beauty, rhythm, and calm waiting to be discovered. Imagine now a soft twilight spreading over all the lands we have visited. The wind carries whispers from distant rivers, the faint rustle of leaves from ancient forests, and the slow, hypnotic rhythm of unseen footsteps across valleys and plains. Each creature, each legend, drifts gently through the landscape of your mind, settling into a place of quiet reflection. You are safe, calm, and deeply immersed in this hypnotic tapestry of stories. As you drift further, feel the lessons of these myths weaving through your thoughts: respect for the unknown, curiosity about the unseen, humility before power and mystery, and awe at the rhythms of the natural and supernatural world. Let your imagination float gently through these realms, where fear is tempered by wonder and suspense flows into calm. Let your mind be soft, open, and at ease, each breath syncing with the quiet pulse of these stories. Now, dear friend, with a smile on your face, you have a good understanding of American mythology and folklore, and your mind is ready to drift into peaceful sleep. Each story has whispered itself into your imagination, leaving behind a gentle rhythm of curiosity, awe, and calm. Let the creatures and legends we have met tonight linger softly in your dreams, guiding you through serene, hypnotic landscapes filled with wonder. Goodbye, dear friend. See you next time. Rest well. Let your imagination wander freely, and allow these stories to carry you into a night of deep, restful, and enchanting sleep.